In this video, I'm going to show you how I made this very simple Shishi Odoshi fountain out of PVC pipe. Let's get started. First, I want to measure and mark 20 inches on this 3-inch pipe. I'd like to cut off a small section of the top of the pipe here to allow the water to flow a little easier. So I'm going to adjust my saw to 45 degrees and lock that down. Then I want this to leave some but cut out most there, so when I know I have it where I want it, lock it down. And this piece may get a little crazy, so I'm going to be sure to stand back whenever I cut this. And I'll always wear safety glasses and ear protection. Now that the cuts are done, I'm going to put a 3-inch cap here on the backside using my PVC cement. This is basically a no pressure application, so I'm not too concerned about priming this pipe before gluing this in here. Now that the cap has been installed, I'm going to measure up to 6 inches from the top of the cap here, like this right here. Make a couple of marks because we're going to have a center point here. The 1/2-inch unisil that I'm going to use requires a 1 1/4 inch hole saw, and so I'm going to use the drill press here to put a hole in at that 6-inch mark away from the cap. And this will be done on both sides of the pipe here. Now that the holes have been drilled here in the pipe, I'm going to use the unisil. Now one is going to go here on the outside and the other one has to go on the inside. So I'm going to drop this down in here and use something to poke it down to the right spot. Okay, and then I'm just going to reach through the hole and get this put in where it needs to, up under here. Maybe a little tricky at first, but just work with it and you'll get it in there. Next, flip the pipe over and install the other side and just pop that in where it needs to be, just like that. Now I need to mark and measure a 9-inch long piece of 1/2-inch pipe. Measure this out at 9 inches and we'll get that cut real quick. In order to get the 1/2-inch pipe into the unisil, I'm going to take a file here and just fold back the edges just a little bit. This actually makes a big difference when getting that into a unisil. I have a little dish soap in water here that I'm going to put on both the pipe and inside the unisils, and that will greatly improve how easily the pipe how easily the pipe goes into the unisil here. Just make sure I get it covered really nicely. Alright, and now I just begin pushing this down here. It's going to get pretty tough when it gets to that second unisil there, but I should be able to get it in. It was kind of difficult to get the pipe through both of these unisil. I had to make sure there was plenty of soap on and then go outside and tap this onto a rock, but it finally got it in there. Be sure not to go too far because once you do, you can't really back it out that way or it will pop the unisil out of the hole. So try to make it even on the first round. I'm going to make a very simple base now out of just some scrap wood here in the workshop. If this is going to be a more permanent install, you may consider doing some PVC legs, maybe T's, that would fit around this and allow you to have an easy swivel point. But I'm just going to use wood. So to begin, I'm going to mark out 2 pieces that are 9 inches. Get that cut down. I need to put a hole in both of these at 7 inches. So I'm going to come up from the bottom and mark 7 on each. Let me see if I can find the center point of these. 3 inches, which means we want 1.5 here. I'm going to use a 1-inch wood bit here to put this hole into the wood. When it pops to the backside, I'm going to remove the clamps, flip it over, and that'll allow me to keep the wood from popping out too bad. Very nice. My hole placement was not 100% directly across, so I'm having to slightly readjust my legs here, but I'm just going to get these installed just like this and use some 3-inch screws to hold this in place. Very nice. So let's go outside and give this a test. I've got a bucket of water that I'm going to slowly drop into the pipe here and see how well this works. Woo. So as you can see, once it gets full, it will dump out. Let's try that again. This time, I'm going to try and pour really slow when it gets to the very top. That's cool. The reason that I made this Shishi Odoshi fountain is because I'm going to be testing a U-siphon that requires a sudden surge of water, and I figured this would be a really cool design to use in that application, but also it looks cool. So if you've got the need for one of these fountains in your water display, then I hope you have enjoyed watching this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Seth Johnson with Land House, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.